I talk from a disadvantage point because I wasn't here yesterday, but again, so I don't know what, but again, it's okay because sometimes you get intimidated when you hear what other people say, so I'll just pretend that. Apart from Prop, which was very interesting presentation, I don't know what. But the way I read the brief was, we think about indigenous social security system in our individual countries, and then look at the formal ones that we have now and see the extent to which the formal ones are taking into consideration the indigenous. So I don't have a paper now. I'm just thinking aloud. So in the context of, I'll talk about that in the context of Botswana, where I'm from. I came to South Africa about 8 years ago, joined the Human Sciences Research Council, and my other interest is work-family balance. It's very interesting organization to work on, but very high pressure. And I would be sitting there, I was telling to me, sitting there, shouting at my children while I'm writing a paper on how to achieve work-family balance. But really, is it so after 8 years, I had to go back to university. So I've been with the University of Pretoria for 8 years. My background is in demography. I always have to make that disclaimer. And I was taught by a very wonderful Ghanaian professor, Sam Gazy.
Yes.
He's the one who made me so in demography. So that's basically where I am. So I'll talk about indigenous family systems in Botswana. Like I said, I'm just thinking aloud, and this is how I anticipate to make the paper. Give an introduction and then talk about social security in contemporary Botswana, indigenous social security systems now, talk about the formal ones, and then discuss, like I said, the extent to which the current ones take into consideration. So the introduction, as Prof was talking, I could hear that it's basically, it seems yesterday a lot was talked about that we also depended a lot on some of the primary institutions of extended family, the chieftainship system, which is very strong now. Neighbors and communities were there, and like I say, nobody ever went without because there was always a sophisticated system of social security. And there were different types. Those were, like Masutla, those are tribal fields. What happened there were the fields usually for plowing. When you see that the indigenous ones in Botswana is a very agriculturally country, apart from the diamonds that we are known well for. The economy is really based on agriculture. So cattle and plowing will always come apart. And our systems were really based on that. And there will be fields that owned by a chief on behalf of the whatever ethnic group they were. And then a group of people, according to age, that we call Mepatho, on a voluntary basis, usually go and prepare the fields, and then they will be plowed. And after that, everyone could, the produce from the field will be stored. And in times of drought or when a family is going through difficulties, you could go and get that from the chief. Paid meal cattle, the same thing. What happened? Cattle were given to poorer members of the community by the chief as a means of livelihood, but more commonly they were entrusted to prominent members of the tribe who would head them. And then the chief will also give milk to people based on from those cattle. The Mafisa system was if someone in the community didn't have cattle, you could lend them some cattle and they will raise them, and whatever calves are there, they get something out of it. So you do it and get something out of it. The Majako system, the same thing, where you went and worked for something and got, especially in the fields, and then got given something from that. Budisa is also just looking after someone's cattle, and after every year, you are given a cattle yourself. So if you are going to work for 10 years, maybe by then you'll have 10, and with the account, you help with each other. If I have a field and I want it plowed, maybe I don't have children or they've gone away, I can call neighbors and the community to come and help me. And it's not for pay, it's all voluntary. And next time it's someone else, so it's all just a voluntary system with us. So these are some of the types of indigenous systems that we have. So at independence, the government had adopted self-reliance as one of the four national pillars. One is demography, one development, one is unity. The current president, when he came in 2008, put dignity into one as one of the national pillars. So the self-reliance was put because of the government also recognized that self-reliance and help, and so additional social security or social protection has always carried the nation forward. And there are examples of that. The establishment of the National Museum and Art Gallery was a community-based initiative. It was built just out of people contributing voluntarily. The construction of the National Stadium, Botswana is a very small country, 2 million people, so when you talk about the National Stadium for us, it's huge. It's like a national stadium. In South Africa, every city has a stadium, but for us, it's good. So a major one that is always usually good is the building of the University of Botswana through the University of Botswana campus appeal. It was spearheaded by the first president, and it was actually called the One Man, One Beast campaign. In the early 70s, just after we got our independence, along with Lesotho and Swaziland, because we were all these small countries formed together, a university called University of Botswana, Lesotho and Swaziland, UBLS, and it went again, and people would go to Swaziland for different modules. Then in 1976, because of political reasons, I can't remember, I was in preschool there, but Lesotho just pulled out, and there was chaos because now the students who were in Lesotho was going to go. So the president put into this national campaign and said everyone should, and the target there was 1 million rand in 1976. And the amount of volunteerism that came there was amazing. Within 3 months, it's already that target was reached. And Botswana built its own university. Even this is the logo of the current University of Botswana. You can see a head of cattle there because you could contribute a head of cattle, even grain, cash, and some people even gave eggs for that. And that is, the other side is the grain of maize. So this is a symbol of how the university came from. So it's still, that's what the university, that's the history of the university, and based on that volunteerism. And this self-reliance and thing continued. In 1996, the government developed a Vision 2016 that was a strategic document to say this is where we want Botswana to be in 2016. It's 2016 now. They are now doing the evaluation. It hasn't gone very far, but at least it was there. And one of the pillars was obviously absolute eradication of social policy, and we had absolute poverty, and we had a national development policy framework that worked hand in hand with the Vision 2016. And the overarching thing there was social protection, and Botswana has also been signatory to the MDG, now to the Sustainable Development Goals, the SADC Code on Social Security, the African Union Social Policy Framework. So even at international level, we have that commitment. And then we have, I won't go into that, but some of the most notable social indicators can actually be traced back to this commitment to social protection. In contemporary Botswana now, this is still extended. Even though we always hear about it with me, and the extended family is still there. When you are sick, you go home. Because we don't have a social security. When you lose a job in the city, you go home. This family is still there, and you know you, whatever. And we have a proverb that the family shares the head of a fly. It doesn't matter how small it is, you will always whatever it is. Community-based organizations are there for support of spiritual, social, and economic needs. And civil society organizations also play an important role in assisting vulnerable groups. And they played a really major role at the peak of the HIV and AIDS epidemic, where a number of people were infected. Mutual aid associations, I think that's what Prof has taken. Maybe yesterday, the stock fairs where people contribute, they come together, contribute. Either you share the end of the year or end of the month, or you can always go back when you have problems. And not just about financial thing, even social. If I have a wedding, I know people are there. If I'm bereaved, I know people are there, so they play that. The financial sector, I can't remember why I put it there, but I think it's more formal. Okay. So the ones are social. We have a social assistance program, the orphan care program that was put in 1998, also in response to the HIV issue, the destitute persons problem that it giving, and I must say that we don't have really a cash transfer per se. It's actually cash or in kind. Most of it is in kind. And so the destitute problem will be a little more food baskets for people who are categorized by social workers as destitute. They don't have anything. Can either be permanent because you are either mentally or physically disabled or just old, and that means you'll never, or temporary because you had some injury, but there's a chance that you will get out of it. The veterans program is for spouses and children up to 21 years of men who were involved in the Second World War. And even if they do get some pension there, and then the old age pensions. Vulnerable groups feeding program. This is for children who are malnutrition between 6 months to about 5 years. You can get that, or even people who are chronically ill, having TB and other conditions that you can get in program. And they're also involved in public schools, primary and secondary. Children are given a meal once a day, just because some children are so poor that even a meal is not there. And in some rural areas, it's actually 2 meals per day. We have fee waivers for children who can't afford school fees or school uniforms. Those are waived and things. And if you are sick and you go to a clinic, it's very minimal, like equivalent of 2 rand to see a doctor, but if you don't have it, doesn't mean you can't be attended to. Public works program and community home-based care as well, that also arose in the context of HIV and AIDS. So the paper will just discuss this in more details to say the key tenets of each of the program. I won't talk about it. But in the conclusion, what I want to focus on is that the government, and Ian Khama in particular, the current president, they've really taken this on and emphasized the ideals of self-reliance. Ian Khama has his personalized programs like to eliminate poverty and uplift the poor. He has a presidential housing appeal. I have personal issues with some of the things, but what the president housing appeal is, people, you can contribute anything, your 100 rand, your 500, but he's encouraging a lot of businesses to contribute, and then in communities, the community will identify someone who's struggling and they'll build a house for it. So last year I was reading a paper, like I said, since it started 4 years ago, about 500 houses have been built. It's okay. I have issues, but that's what is happening. And then there's a promotion of also backyard gardening, where people are encouraged to grow their own vegetables. So what I want the paper to really focus on is to say, the indigenous systems, I think that's what Prof was saying, they're based on principles of solidarity and reciprocal caregiving and dignity as well. My grandmother had 3 children, but if you go to a house, you think she had 15 because it was always full. And some people, we grew up without knowing that they were not her children because there was not that. But some of the current social security programs and also the presidential programs is where if you are struggling, then you are seen as, I don't know, a trophy is used for to gain political points. I don't know how to put it. So the issue of dignity, where is it really going? So it would be nice for contemporary ones to put those kind of African principles that it's not, I'm helping you so that I can be seen to be helping you. Like the presidential housing appeal, a community identifies the end of the day the house is handed over, the media will come and think, and really what I say about the dignity of that person, showing that here is a poor person who has been built a house by contributions. The president goes around giving, he takes blankets, I think he forces them from the Chinese who are there, takes them, and as he's going around in villages, donates them, and people are paraded to go and get a blanket, that's why I said I have personal issues with that. But maybe I think the key thing in the paper, we say we had this Indigenous, and one of the main things there was dignity. And you are helping because you are, and it's not just helping because I have cattle. You are looking after my cattle, but you get something. So both of us, whether it's a poor person and someone who's poor, both of us, it's not because I'm the boss now. I'm just giving you, and this is I think what is the contemporary programs are like. You are just being giving and giving, and that's why some of the people who are against. For example, I know in South Africa it creates a sense of dependency. It's like because I'm just receiving, I'm not giving anything. So maybe we could do it so that in a way that I receive, but you are also getting something out of it. So I think that's my thinking aloud. That's how I like it. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
The University of Johannesburg. Rethink, reinvent.